as you move through and you learn, that's why a coach is a great thing, because it allows you to create your own frameworks by using the coach's frameworks at first, and then, kind of spinning off your own. So it's an attitude, Vinney, of I can learn to do something, and I'm willing to get knocked down enough times. You got to be willing to fail in life. I mean, you mentioned it in my bio. I had a company that did over $100 million in sales in a short period of time. A lot of that was because of great copywriting, but we had great products. But in 2016, the gig was up. It was done. And so the company filed, Chapter 11, and we never made it out of it, really. But it didn't sink me personally, but it sunk me mentally. I was in a mental funk, and the way I got out of it, I just started running. I started exercising, and I said, I am going to fix this here. And so 2017 was a great year in that I went out and bought a bunch of real estate. Why? Because I needed to get my mind off of a previous failure. But today I look back, and that if that hadn't happened, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, was that failure, because today I know exactly what it looks like to get to that position. And so you learn from these things, that's the attitude is, all right, when it happens, it hurts. I know there's people probably watching your show, Vinney, who are going through a financial thing. It's tough at that time, but look, you just got to keep going. You got to get back in the fight. You got to keep going after it. And eventually you'll look back and you'll say, that was a great learning experience. I'm glad I went through it. But that's an attitude. That's a choice.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Totally. What you just said is so true. So true. It's how many times we get knocked down. That doesn't, it's how many times you get up. You just cannot go in a spiral, I call it, because depression, stress, everything, it affects your mind and body. You got to really say, okay, I got this situation. How can I get out of it? What will it take for me to be, what would a tremendous, whoever your mentor is, what would he do in that situation? I know sometimes I've really gotten out of my hole by saying, okay, what will my mentor do? At this time, at this point in my life. And like you said, lawsuits do come. I'm sure people watching us or living, hearing us, lawsuits come, but it's having the insurances and the attorneys and everybody and making sure you're doing the business correctly that will save you, and that's how it's all about. So, let's just this is very, very good. One thing I wanted to mention, I was listening, some people were talking, Vinney, I can learn the business I want to do on internet. So let me kind of get your thoughts on it, and I'll spend some time. If somebody wants to be a doctor, can they go and listen to, tapes and all and read and become a doctor? Probably not. An engineer or any kind of degree, a specialization of something, you got to go and take a good solid course and invest money in it, So what's your thinking on that? I mean, there are some naysayers and they say, you know what, I can learn, from free stuff, from bigger pockets, from here and there.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the reality is the people who don't invest the money, they say I can learn all that online. They never do, because they don't invest the money. It's the, it's this adage that if you pay enough money, you're going to take the action. So you've got to make it painful. And from my standpoint, when I say you got to make it painful, if you pay enough money to, let's say, to a coach, well, eventually there comes a point where you're like, I'm not going to lose that money. No matter what, I'm not going to lose that money. I've got too much invested. So you're going to take the actions necessary. When you learn it for free, it's not that you could learn to be a doctor. You go to a library and actually study. All the medical books are there, but sooner or later, you're going to probably want a degree, because most people aren't going to hire you if you don't have a degree. That means you're going to actually have to first go to college, get that degree, and then you're going to have to go be an intern for a period of time before anybody lets you touch their body. Well, it's the same thing. I have I've had this conversation with my kids. I'm like, look, if you want to learn something, hire a coach, because it'll be the best money you ever spend. Even if you don't have success from that coach, you will find your way if you want the thing you're hiring the coach for bad enough. Not every coach is a great coach. There's a lot of gurus out there. But the fact of the matter is, what Vinney, it surprises me how many people sign up for something and never go through the material.
I'm so glad what you said is so true. All personal coaching students who I have mentored one-on-one have been so successful and doing so well. Maybe you're right, because they give lots of money. They gave a lot of money. It got them in a frame of mind. Hey, I got to find time. I got to meet with Vinney. I got to follow what he's telling me and get other people involved in my organization to delegate it out and get on a faster track to build the business. And you're so right about it. When people just spend $47 or $197 or whatever, right? Many of those people don't go much further because they just don't have that, stake or vested, you say, as compared to if you pay 2,000, let's say. I think one will take a lot more drive and initiative and be present in the masterminds or whatever, because the money, that leverage is there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it all depends on the person you're coaching. There are some people who are in their mid 50s and they've got millions of dollars in the bank, but they want to learn something new. Well, a $2,000 course is not going to be enough for them to make the jump to do something. Maybe not. I'd say that it all depends on the value of money to that person and how hard, there comes a point where I call it there comes a point where the nag fee. Okay. With the nag fee, if you spend this money, if you don't have success, your wife's going to nag you until you do. That's the nag fee. You got to hit the nag fee on your when you invest in a coach, because
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinney Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9:30 Pacific with Vinney and Bo show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my Apartment Syndication Made Easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you.
If you don't have success, your wife's going to nag you until you do. That's the nag fee. You got to hit the nag fee on your when you invest in a coach, because you want to be at the point where your wife is like, if you spend this, you better have success. Yeah. Because of course your spouse knows every time you've spent money on something and didn't have success, they always remember that. They might not remind you, but they always remember it. So you got to hit that nag.
I love it. This is something different term, nag fee. I learned today. Wow. No, that's so very true, because once you have vested interest and you have paid for something bigger, or better and everything, and you have the right motives behind it, you'll figure out ways to meet with the coach and take that to the next level and next level and next level. No, that's great. Let me ask you a question. What other things can some investors, would you like to drop some more? You've dropped so many great nuggets already in this conversation, today. What else can we, how can people be motivated, I guess? Sometimes we want to be motivated, but then life comes on the way.
Well, one of the things that I believe you have to train your mind. So I believe there's two parts to your mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So when you want something, you have to start putting your thoughts to paper. And that means your goals, your visions, your dreams. But in order to hit them, most people, they do their goal setting January 1, and then they've forgotten them by the end of January. But the reality is that takes a certain amount of training. So one of the ways to train your mind is to start doing like a 4 or 5 activities every day, and you put them on paper and you make sure that you cross those off the list every day. And so by doing this, and always, it's always great if you use the same pad of paper every time, because as you start crossing those off every day, what you're doing is you're training your mind to understand that once it goes onto this paper, it's going to get done. Then you can start painting as big a vision as you want and allow your mind to start guiding you. Because a lot of things, Walt Disney said it this way. He said, you have to have a dream to have a dream come true. And I don't believe that, look, you can set goals, but you can't set the dreams the size of that Walt Disney set. You can't set the dream the size of maybe, Steve Jobs or some of the, you can't set them that high, because your mind actually will question you. So you start by creating goals and visions of what you think is possible. And a lot of times down the road, you look back and you're like, wow, the dreams are coming true now, because I've trained my mind to get me what I want instead of me getting me what I want. But it starts by doing little things often. So,
excellent. So true. So very true. So very true. If you would probably tell the audience, what kind of apps are you finding and you use, and maybe some books that you might be reading? I always ask those 2 questions also. Yeah.
Well, right now, I'm just finished reading Traffic Secrets, which was Russell Brunson.
Brunson's Traffic Secrets. Wow.
Yeah, I've read all of his books, but I went to read it again because I wanted to go through it. But I use a lot of apps. One of them I use is called Grammarly, which is simply, I use it for emails or anything I write, and it makes sure that my English is proper. It catches, I have a lot of spelling problems and things, but it catches all that. So those are some, that's an app that I use. One of the things, I forget who said this to me. I might've been Russell Brunson in Traffic Secrets. In fact, it was. He said it this way. He said, when you go on social media, use social media to promote your platform or whatever you're doing. Don't be a user of social media. Use social media as a tool. So those are apps. So in other words, if you're a consumer on social media, it'll consume your time and take away. And I think you mentioned it before, Vinney. People are, they don't invest the time. They say, I don't have the time. But if they really looked at, okay, you spent this amount of time on Facebook or this amount of time here, that all boils down to what's your vision? What do you want? And when you really get clear on the amount of income you want or the amount of things you want and how to get there and the steps that it's going to take and the amount of hours, if you can get it down to the amount of hours it's going to take, then you say, well, for every hour I spend, that vision is that much, 1 more hour away from me getting it. Every hour I spend on social media, if I'm not using it as a tool to build my business. So, and that's what I work with entrepreneurs to try to help them get really clear on their vision and where they want to go and figure out what their business looks like when it's done. And I say when it's done, meaning what is the end result of your business? Is it you being an employee after 20 years, or is it you owning this company and you can choose to walk away, sell the company because the company runs itself. The best companies run themselves. And so Dan Sullivan calls it a self-managing company. That's the way a company should be built. And sometimes having somebody on the outside looking at your business with you doesn't mean they're more successful or less successful than you. They just can see things differently because you're not, they say that you can't read the label from inside the jar. Okay. And so it's the same thing in your business. A lot of times it's hard to see the things that you could be doing differently when you're inside your own business. So
love it. Introspectively, you're so right. I think when the things are going great, it's very hard to find faults. I found that it's when we are in the downturn turn or not growing, that's when external forces are needed to tell us, what's wrong, because many times within the company, it's hard to find, the challenges. No, thank you so much, Dave, for hanging out with me, brother. How can people reach you,
You can find me at davidmulvaney.com. That's one of the easiest places to find me. If you'd like a copy of my wealth formula, just go to davidmulvaney.com/wealth formula. It's just a really simple 11 steps. It was 10 steps until I had $500,000 stolen from me from one of my companies. Now it's 11 steps because of that. So, but you can get a hold of me at davidmulvaney.com. That's the easiest place. I'm David T as in Thomas is my middle name. David T Mulvaney on LinkedIn, Twitter, all over, almost all over the internet. You can find me through my name. But if you're struggling in business or you're looking to invest in real estate and have somebody who can, you maybe partner with, or, I've been through I'm pretty selective on those that invest with me, much like you, because I want people who understand that that real estate isn't always a home run, but it's always, if you're with the right operator, it's always consistent base hits. And that, I don't want to take any properties that aren't going to make money. I've only lost money on one out of all the properties, and that was a personal house that I built. And I don't like losing money, and
Yes.
I don't like losing other people's money. So
Excellent. What a great way to end the conversation. You're right. We have fiduciary responsibility for the investors, and OPM, other people's money. That's what the world is, syndication. And that's what this podcast is, Syndication Made Easy. Please go ahead, and if you like the content that you heard today, please share it with some other entrepreneurs, some people, some family, colleagues who might get great nuggets out of this one. And please like us and give us 5-star reviews if you can on iTunes. Written reviews, very, very, anticipated or expected, or we would love them. If you could give a shot of that, if you give a written review, please send it to Vinney at vinnychopra.com. And we would love to send a gift to you. We are starting to do that so that we can really, help each other. And as you know, vinnychopra.com /free book. Please go ahead and get that one too. And we'll see you on the other side. Thank you for spending the time today. Again, all these opinions are of the guests, and we take no responsibility, in the podcast. It's for entertainment purposes only. My attorney says, Vinney, you got to say that. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much, brother. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.